Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we are back taking a look at a Jhin supplementary guide, in particular full crit Jhin. Now personally, I still prefer to go for the Youmu's into lethality boots and collector kind of build, because I think that Jhin with the early lethality is going to get a lead in the early game into the mid and late game. But I think that full crit Jhin is actually really good as well. You don't necessarily always have to go for Youmu's. So there's kind of two ways to build Jhin at the moment. Of course, one is starting off with lethality into crit. Second one is, full crit. Technically, you could go for full lethality, but I think that that's pretty bad. So just, I don't think we should be going for that. So another thing I'm going to be discussing is also fleet footwork. But anyways, before we discuss anything, of course, I'm going to, get you guys to check out Jhin's basic guide. This guide covers, of course, Jhin's skills, leveling order, tips and tricks, as well as combos. And I'll put that up in the cards above. So now talking about Jhin's build. So obviously, we're going to start Collector as our first item. So Collector obviously gives us the lethality, gives us the AD, and most importantly gives us the crit. So the main point of this item is it gives us both lethality and crit, so it allows Jhin to get the early game lethality as well as to get crit to scale later on with the rest of his crit items. We don't really care too much about the Death and Taxes passive, aside from the fact that it feels good when you proc it. But another option you could go for instead of the Collector as a first item is you could actually go for Storm Razor or Shield Bow. Both of these options are really good as well. Of course, Shield Bow is the very defensive option of having the shield, and Storm Razor is also a really good offensive option other than Collector. So next up we go for Gluttonous Greaves. Gluttonous Greaves gives us Omnivamp as well as a good amount of AD. You could go for lethality boots here as well, but I think when you going for the full crit build, I think that getting Gluttonous Greaves is of course really helpful. And then afterwards we go for Infinity Edge. Of course, this is going to give us the increase in crit damage as well as the AD, LDR of course for the armor pen, as well as the AD and crit, and finally we get Bloodthirster for the lifesteal. Also we get a lot of AD, and of course this puts us 100% crit. So this leaves us with an extra item slot, and in this extra item slot you could go for, of course, a GA to revive. You could also go for Sterix, which I don't actually have here, but you could go for Sterix Gauge as well if I can find it. Here it is. You could go for Sterix Gauge as well, which of course is gonna give you increase in your base attack damage, which is gonna give you a lot of AD, gives you maximum health for defensive capabilities, and gives you a lifeline shield as well. Although I have to say that Sterix has pretty much lost all its popularity ever since Shield Bow came out, but I do still think that if you're going for a full crit build, Sterix's last item could still be really strong. So the alternative is, if there's a lot of healing on enemy team, you could go for, of course, Maul Reminder instead of going for the Lord Dominus Regard. So this would be Maul Reminder instead. So you would have Collector into IE into Maul Reminder into Bloodthirster, and as your last crit item, you could go for either Shield Bow, or you could go for Rapid Fire Cannon for the extra range. That will also get you 100% crit. So the next thing to discuss is his runes. So now obviously we did cover First Strike Jhin, and I do still think First Strike Jhin is actually really strong, but one of the kind of drawbacks of taking First Strike on any champion is you always are kind of pressured to get value from First Strike by kind of just getting First Strike procs. So it kind of forces you to play a little bit more aggressive than what you would really want. And that isn't necessarily always a good thing. Of course, on certain champions, that is kind of the way you want to play. But on a lot of champions, you don't want to be forced into trading whenever your first strike is up. And, the enemy is going to try to remove your first strike, and etc, etc. So if you go for Fleet Footwork, you kind of eliminate all of these problems. And Fleet Footwork, don't forget, is still a really strong rune for Jhin. Of course, the reason why it's strong is because it helps you in terms of giving you movement speed and giving you healing. Of course, the movement speed is really useful to kite around fights, and the healing helps you with your trading in lane and all these sorts of things. I feel that Fleet Footwork is one of the most underrated keystone runes. A lot of people think that Fleet Footwork is a bad rune, but in reality it really is not. Fleet Footwork is actually a pretty strong rune, in lane and also just in the game in general. And for the rest of the runes, we're going to take Brutal, of course, for the unhit attack damage, Coup de Grace against low HP enemies, or you could go for Giant Slayer into a tanky team, and of course we have the Legend Bloodline for the Omnivamp. Obviously you don't want to go for something like Alacrity, because you don't really get any attack speed. It's going to convert to AD anyways. And finally you go for Bone Plating for the defensive options. And for the spells, you go for your Ghost as well as your Flash for a majority of matches. You could go for Exhaust if there are multiple assassins that you need to exhaust on the enemy team. And briefly, I'm just going to talk about boot enchant. Of course, the most common boot enchant is going to be Stasis. Some matches you might get a not Proto, you might get a Quicksilver enchant if there's a lot of CC. And again, a very underrated boot enchant that not a lot of people take, which I highly recommend on champs like Jhin or Lucian and a lot of other ADCs as well, is Proto Belt, because it gives you extra dash, extra mobility, and in some niche cases that a little bit of extra damage is also going to help, and most of the time it's just for mobility. And that's pretty much it for Jhin's loadout. Now let's talk about his gameplay. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the gameplay, but of course, as usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll definitely be sure to address them. So here we're rocking the new Blood Moon Jhin skin. It's not a new skin, but it's a newly acquired skin for me, which for some reason, whenever I open those random skin chests you get from the Wild Pass, I always get Jhin skins. This is like the second or third Jhin skin that I've gotten, which I guess you could say is a good thing because I do enjoy Jhin. But yeah, I'm having a lot of Jhin skins at the moment. So obviously, as you guys can see as well, we're a duo with Leona, and generally for me, when I play Jhin, I prefer to play with an aggressive support, because Jhin himself, he does have that CC on his W, but with an aggressive, engaging kind of support, they can CC for you and set the kills up for you, and all you have to really do is to, of course, just walk up and output the damage and collect the kills. So it's a lot more easy to, play in all stages of the game if you play with an aggressive support. But of course, Jhin is one of those champions like Kai'Sa or like Caitlyn, who pretty much are okay with playing with any support, more or less. It's not hyper reliant on any kind of support. So here we're against a Ezreal Pyke lane, which is a little bit of a strange lane, because Ezreal is the kind that just wants to poke, but Pyke is the kind that wants to pull people and go all in. So kind of a little bit anti-synergy there. But of course, if Pyke gets a pull, Ezreal can get a free full combo, so it's gonna work out as well for them if it comes down to it. But here for now, all we're really doing is we're just pretty much just farming minions and just trying to get a little bit of poke if we can, because Ezreal and Pyke are both really hard to engage on for Leona, because Ezreal obviously can just arcane shift away and Pyke can just dash away as well. So we're gonna have to wait for an opportunity for us to actually have a chance to go in and try to look for some kills. In the meanwhile, you guys can see we're just trying to get as much poke as possible. Unluckily enough, when we chose to go in, when Leona chose to go in, the enemy jungler, which is the Twitch, happened to be in the bush. So that was really unfortunate, and as a result, we nearly end up dying, but we actually do survive, but pop both sums. But we're fine overall, so I guess, we could say that it kind of worked out because we didn't die. So, something interestingly enough, if you guys take a look at the scoreboard at the bottom, for some reason it puts Morgana and Ezreal's position swapped, even though on the right hand corner of the screen you guys can see it's in the correct position. But enough about that nonsense. Here we're back into another fight. Leona is tanking a lot of damage while CCing the enemy champions. Does do as much as she can, and then is forced to flash out because she's run out of health. So it's not really the best situation in the world. We've lost all of our sums, whereas the enemy team still has all of them, which is really not an ideal situation in the slightest. But considering that we did survive the Twitch lane gank, I would say that we can't really complain too much. Although this puts us in a very, very vulnerable position where we will have to, of course, play extremely carefully. Here I get a good route onto Pyke. Pyke's level 5. But he does manage to dash away from Leona's engage. Don't really think we wanted to look for a fight there, even if Leona hit the engage, because both the enemies are level 5. Although you could technically say Jhin level 5, his ultimate is not really that helpful unless you need to finish off a kill when the enemies are running away. So here, once again, pretty tame. We can see Twitch on the bot side of the map because we got some deep vision into the enemy jungle. Really good job by my team with that ward onto Twitch's blue buff. So we know we can play aggressive. We know Morgana is in mid and Twitch is in the bottom side, and here it's isolated 2v2 for us here. Our Echo is also on the other side of the map, but in the end nothing too much really happens, and at the end of the day we're just going to back and just pick up some items. So now we're going to head back to lane. This is where the enemy team is going to push in. So if the enemy team overstays for plates, this could be a possible time to punish, which it looks like they are actually going to do instead of just backing. So here, Leona's looking for an engage. Pyke's looking for a hook as well. Pyke actually pulls the Leona, gets stunned up by him. We both follow up with the CC. Leona unfortunately goes between the uprights, but still enough to get the slow, and I'm able to actually finish off the Pyke here. Ezreal also put really low HP. Here I'm popping the ulti trying to snipe him down, but I can't really see where he is because we don't have vision. By the time I catch sight of him, unfortunately he has left the ult zone, so unfortunately we don't get the kill there. Here Leona was trying to wrap around and gets caught out by the Twitch. I get the root on the Twitch, but Twitch's expunge manages to secure the kill. Now we're in a very sticky situation. What we do with the movement speed from the Ghost, we do manage to sidestep the Morgana. The Morgana binding. Unfortunately though, Morgana did manage to ignite us, and I did not notice the ignite, so I flash, and unfortunately the ignite finishes me off, which is kind of a waste of the flash, so a little bit of an unfortunate situation here. Here you can see the action continues where Pyke is going to execute the Ziggs, who is taking a very greedy recall right at the enemy control ward, although he did manage to destroy it in the end. Shouldn't have stayed there because Pyke was coming back from his death. So if we take stock of the situation now, in this entire first 5 minutes of the game, we actually managed to secure 2 kills, died, and got an assist. In terms of goal, we are barely up on goal compared to the Ezreal, and overall I would say that we are doing fine. Not incredibly fed, not behind, we're just doing alright. And here the dragon is obviously up, so as customary, the dragon fight is going to ensue. Something to note is Riven is not with us, whereas we don't know where Garen is. Garen is missing, so we don't know if he is with the team here or not. But the enemy team is incredibly split up, so we are grouped together. So whenever you're grouped together, you want to commit to either side of the enemy team. You're either all collapse behind or all collapse in front. You want to commit to one side. Here I'm protecting the flank using my traps, and here Twitch actually does manage to wrap around and join his team, or tries to join his team but doesn't manage to connect because we cut off his route to the team. Riven has finally reached the fight, and she's chasing down, running down the Twitch. Ziggs together with Leona is able to finish off the kill onto, I believe it's Morgana, and here more kills are going to follow. And the really important part here is that Riven actually rotated to the fight and let all these kills actually happen. You guys saw that when we were like 4v4, nothing much was really happening, but the rotation from the Riven came in and we just basically killed all of them because we had a numbers advantage, whereas Garen is just busy farming the tower plates on the bottom lane, and he doesn't even push that fast. So I think he probably made a mistake by not coming to join his team. Riven is able to protect the tower, and now with all of those kills, we are up a lot of gold. And of course I did also get 2 tower plates here. So here I'm going to recall and pick up some items. In the meanwhile, my team is going to fight at the Rift Herald. Since Ezreal is in my lane and he's pushing, I'm going to hit back over to my lane to prevent him from getting tower plates. Leona is going to hit over to the Herald fight. And the Herald fight is already deep underway. You can see on the mini-map that, obviously huge fight is going on. Twitch manages to secure the Rift Herald. Unfortunately, Ezreal is trying to secure some tower plates, makes a big mistake, gets rooted by me, and basically gets killed by me after I flash forward for the kill. So apologies for that notification there. But anyways, here we're just gonna clear up these minions, and we're gonna just try to get this tower if we can. Enemy team did get the Herald, but they were not able to actually use it to secure first tower. So instead, I'm actually able to use it to secure my first tower, which is of course amazing. So here we get not just my tower but Riven's tower as well. So both side lane towers have been secured, as we're now winning on side lanes. Obviously, now I'm pretty far up ahead in goal compared to the Ezreal. And Ezreal only has a mirror mana at this point. Not mirror mana, a mana immune, sorry, at this point. So he's not gonna be doing a lot of damage at this point. I have a BF sword, a collector, and my gluttonous greaves completed already. So I'm in way better shape than he is. I'm gonna quickly just hit back up here to the lane to just push out this lane to force someone to respond to these minions. Otherwise, they will be lost to the tier 2 tower. And in the meanwhile, this is going to free me up to do a macro rotation to the mid lane where it looks like a fight is about to break out. Twitch gets caught, and I'm able to follow up with my CC, and I'm able to secure the kill onto Twitch and then onto Morgana as well. Here I'm going to pop the ult and secure the kill onto Ezreal as well, and use the last couple charges of the ult to just clear out some minions since there's really nothing else to fire at. And here, as I mentioned, Pyke basically had to go there to clear the minions because if not, the minions are going to be lost to the tower. And As a result, me and Ziggs are able to get a free mid lane tower and push out the mid lane wave as well. So, pretty beautiful game in terms of the macro movements from me and my team. And we're also, you know, pretty far ahead as a result. And I didn't really realize this when I was playing the game, but I only just realized that the kill score is now 18 to 4. So we're kind of stomping them at the moment. But yeah. So we ourselves, we're doing great. We're 6-1 and 2. In fact, Ziggs and Riven also have 6 kills on our team. So our whole team is kind of just doing well all across the board. And here we can see Echo is pretty aggressive. He's invading, but that's alright because our team, as I said, is doing really well. Riven is in the area to kind of cover for him, and so am I. So we're just basically here to ensure the Echo can get off counter jungling successfully. But a fight ends up breaking out instead with 3 versus 3. I'm going to rotate over to the fight. And here we're trying to burst down the Twitch. Unfortunately, Twitch lives on 1 HP, and the enemy team is all rotating. Me and Riven are going to be forced to run. And here Garen is trying to chase us down, Pyke as well. Pyke's channeling the hook. I'm trying to ghost and avoid his hook, which I do eventually manage to do. However, Leona, who was coming in from the flank, instead gets collapsed on from both sides and ends up becoming the one dead instead. And here Pyke with a pretty beautiful E-flash to get the stun on me and Riven, forces my flash to hit over. I'm just walking back to the safety of my tier 2 tower, but I cannot believe, alright, well, that wasn't even the E-flash, that was just a normal E, but here is the E-flash, and Pyke actually manages to finish me off, which honestly I was pretty surprised by, but I guess I shouldn't be, because why would Pyke not be aggressive with so many members of my team dead? Anyways, here I think Ziggs was trying to push down the mid lane inhibitor and manages to get caught out running back. It's just kind of a fiesta for the past couple of minutes happening at the moment. But the dragon has actually spawned, and the Echo, who is our jungler, is now currently on the dragon. Enemy team appears to not really be ready to contest the dragon. Twitch is pushing mid lane with the help of the Rift Herald. They of course do have objective bounties onto towers because they are really far behind, and they're trying to get the Herald crash into the tower. Now in hindsight, I probably should have just went for the tower defense instead of going toward the dragon. But I don't think I would have stopped the Herald anyways, because what am I really going to do against the Herald? Not that I can burst down the Herald or anything like that. Echo tries to go in 1v5 for some reason, is forced to ult back out. Leona gets a stun onto the Pyke, and we end up getting a huge chain CC on the Pyke, and Pyke cannot move. Leona flashes forward for the stun onto the Twitch. I managed to finish the kill onto him. And Morgana is put really, really low. I'm trying to snipe her with my W, which I do manage to do for the triple. And I cannot believe that over here I managed to lose to Ezreal 1v1. I guess the Iceborne Gauntlet armor is actually coming in really, really handy for the Ezreal, and it's blocking a lot of my damage. So I don't manage to get the kill on Ezreal. Ezreal manages to survive, and my whole team is kind of left on pretty low HP trying to run away. Garen tries to chase in. Leona has 0 mana, so she can't really do anything, and we're all just going to back off. We did get the mid lane inhib, as well as a couple of kills, so it's it's not all that bad. So at this point in the game, I was basically concluding that there's not that much healing on the enemy team. Twitch didn't choose to build any healing. Ezreal is probably building towards a Bork or something like that, but there isn't too much healing on any team, so I'm deciding to just go for the full crit build, which is of course going for the LDR, and just going all 4 crit items first, and then having to get a defensive last item. Now here I have actually respawned. I'm just showing what's happening here with my team, because with me nothing interesting is really going on. I'm just farming Raptors, I'm farming red buff, and with my team a fight is going to break out, as you guys can see. So here it's going to be a 4v3, until I show up it's going to be a 4v4. Riven's on the opposite side of the map pushing. Pyke has already died. Here I'm trying to chase down for the Twitch, and I am able to actually finish him off. No, I'm actually not able to finish him off, but we are going to be able to finish off the Garen, like so. And then we're going to try to see if we can get this Twitch or Morgana. We run straight into a Morgana route, so that doesn't look very likely. Morgana actually does a really decent chunk of damage onto me. Echo tries to go in, but Morgana is immune to CC from both me and Echo. But you can see I nearly managed to one-shot the Morgana here. One more auto would have done it. I could have flashed in for the auto, but I really thought that Morgana isn't that valuable. She's only 2, 5, and 6. Don't want to really waste my flash to secure a kill onto Morgana, especially since we're not really going to do too much with it. Even if we get her, I don't think we're going to go for Baron, so no need to waste flash in this situation. So we secure the LDR, and if you guys didn't notice from the couple of proto belts that you guys saw, I did pick up proto belt this match for the extra mobility. I felt that that'll be pretty useful to number one, chase people down, but number two, also try to sidestep the Pike E or possibly even the Morgana route, you know, if that comes. So here Ziggs is actually pinging to attack Baron. I don't really think it's that bad of an idea. We are pretty far ahead, but of course all the enemy team members are alive, so it's really not really the best idea either. Echo is actually now rotating over to the Baron, so we don't really think that they know Baron's going on. So Riven is actually creating a pressure point on the opposite side of the map, so the enemy team will most likely get distracted by the Riven and try to respond to her. In fact, they're not even getting distracted by her, but they don't come here anyway, so we are going to be able to secure a free Baron. Now Riven is pushing with the Baron buff. We can afford to push other lanes while she is drawing pressure to the top side of the map. So you can see that's exactly what we're doing. We are actually pushing the bottom side of the map while the Morgana and the Garen are rotating over to clear top. And Echo, of course, is getting some counter jungling in. No big deal here. The mini wave is still taking a little bit of time to come. And Dick's Dragon is coming up in 40 seconds. So something to take notice, you know, we want to use the Baron to push, but we do have double Dragon at the moment, so getting triple Dragon is a pretty good win condition. So here, instead of pushing with the Baron and forcing, we're actually going to make use of the Baron pressure and try to rotate over to Dragon instead. Unfortunately here, whiff on the ulti, but here you can see the Proto Belt forward, the Q auto is able to allow us to finish off the Morgana. Here we finish off the Twitch as well, so Dragon's pretty much secured at this point because it's not like anyone can steal the Dragon if the jungle is dead. Here, unfortunately, my team just kind of runs it down here, and Ziggs and the Echo both end up dying. Here, Garen is just too tanky for me. Even with my armor penetration item, it looks like I'm not really doing very much damage to him. So I decide to maybe try to push down the bot lane instead, but my team picks a fight at mid lane. And here, once again, we aren't killing Garen. Garen is just too tanky. So instead, we're just going to secure this inhibitor. And, you know, let's not, you know, play too overly aggressive. We're just gonna fall back onto the Dragon. Echo's respawning in 5 seconds, so we should be able to get the Dragon. Here, for some reason, Pyke decides to chase me, and I'm just gonna basically kill him. I don't really know why he decided to chase me there, but pretty simple job of just, you know, hitting a auto into a root into death. So here we put in the control ward. No enemy can see that we're here. No wards in the pit. We're gonna pull out the Dragon as well to make it harder for Twitch to steal. And here we're just going to try to secure the Dragon together with the Echo. Here Echo does get the Dragon secure. Twitch doesn't even manage to enter the pit. And here Twitch gets caught by the Leona ulti, following up with my W to get the stun. Here I'm trying to ult down the squishy targets, but Garen goes on top of me. I'm going to have to cancel my ult to prevent him from just free spinning onto me and just killing me. So here we don't really have to care about the Garen. We do have a wave, or we had a wave at least. So we're trying to actually just push down mid and possibly try to end the game, maybe. Here I managed to predict the Morgana flash, and I get the root onto the Morgana, which does secure the kill onto her. And in the meanwhile, we're just pushing in basically everywhere. Here Pyke tries to go for a hook. I actually flashed away, but the Leona went for it to block for me, so I kind of actually didn't need to flash there, but better safe than sorry. So here, it's pretty much the end of the game. There's nothing much that can really happen here. Or actually there is, I guess. You'll see, but here I'm trying to finish the game. I only have like 1 minute left. I'm trying to reload. I'm trying to attack the Nexus, and my whole team just ends up dying. I have no idea what happened here, and I end up dying as well. Riven tries to go in. She's gonna die as well, and it's just a disaster. So I guess I should have just committed to the Nexus. I don't know if I could have finished the game with like the Jhin's slow attack speed and all, but you know, it's better than just dying doing nothing, right? So maybe I just should have committed to try to end the game by hitting the Nexus. And now this, if you guys didn't notice, this is actually a catastrophic situation because we have the lead, we have the triple Dragon, we have double inhib, but what's up now? Baron and Dragon are both up at the moment, and by Dragon I mean Elder Dragon. Thankfully though, the enemy team is too busy to clearing their waves to actually go straight for the Elder Dragon. If I was the enemy team, I'll go straight for the Elder Dragon first, and then I would back and clear my waves. Because obviously my team is not really in a position to end using any of those waves, so there isn't really that big of a threat. So here the enemy team finally goes onto Elder Dragon. Echo is trying to fight them by himself, unfortunately, and his shield actually comes in, which I think actually saves him from the Pyke ult, and he's gonna actually ult back to try to survive, which he does. And the rest of our team is running straight towards the Elder Dragon. and we're seeing if we can really get anything done. Morgana tries to go in for like a 5-man ulti, but really, if she doesn't stasis there, she really can't get anything done, which she doesn't because her stasis is on cooldown. Here I'm trying to snipe down the Ezreal, but in the end just becomes a zoning ult where he's forced to run towards Riven instead. Here we also managed to catch the Twitch. Twitch is dead, and the game is pretty much won at this point. Now it's only Garen left. We didn't even need the Elder Dragon actually, but Ziggs just goes for the Elder Dragon anyways. And here we're just going to end the game. So I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.